It is now time for the EARTHEART Radio Show, and thanks so much for being here. And welcome once again, and thank you for tuning in to the EARTHEART Radio Show number 18, and what a special day today. Today we'll be paying tribute to Baba Ram Dass with a memorial featuring actual recordings from Ram Dass speaking to the people, speaking to us, and you'll hear music featuring Ram Dass as well as positive news, which will consist of the great charities and the nonprofit humanitarian organizations that were either founded by or co-founded by Baba Ram Dass. And let me tell you, I counted at least 100 of them. That's incredible for one man. We'll focus on a few of those that you might not be aware of today in tribute to this great man. Baba Ram Dass did pass away, or did leave his physical body on December the 22nd. He died peacefully at home on the island of Maui, surrounded by his loved ones. Today on the show, we will start off with the clear intentions of the visualization of world peace. The visualization of world peace, and wherever you may be listening, please just take a couple of moments to chant Om with us. Today, I'd like to introduce the folks that have been kind enough to stop by the KSKQ studios to be a part of this awesome day. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the other mics on just to make sure that they're all being picked up. Today, I'd like to welcome Jean from Roosh, Joanna from Ashland, Nicole Brady, a.k.a. DJ Starlight. Also, Sister Tracy is here, who is the co-host of the Church of Rock, and Connie Saldana, our elder and the person in charge of the station and our treasurer, and so instrumental in being here today and with helping us with a clear intention of what we're doing. You know, some people think it might be a waste of time to chant Om, but we know better because all of our intentions and all of our thoughts become us. So we are sending this Om and this chant out today for all humans and all love of life. And I'd like to let Connie Saldana go ahead and take the mic, if you would, Connie, and say a few words before we begin our chant. And thanks again for being here at KSKQ Radio. We appreciate it.
Am I close enough?
You can get a little closer, maybe a few inches closer.
Okay.
Thanks, Connie.
Well, we're so grateful for people that are wanting to bless our planet today. So we're going to be using a very special, it's more than a tool, it's all it is, the Om, to pray for world peace. I think that's something that Ram Dass would approve of. I
think so, yes. Yeah. I think most of his life was doing exactly what we're doing in this moment.
Yeah, and we have been planning this for a while, but maybe he was guiding us to just pick this particular day to do this the first time.
Because we did originally intend to do this at midnight, so we definitely switched our hours, but I'm very grateful that everyone's here.
So we're just going to do a short bit of OMing, but let's all just focus for a moment, get centered. And I think a good thing to focus on would be your love for our beloved planet Earth. Just feel that in your heart. Come, bring your focus in and breathe, obviously. And if you have a particular guide or some being that has particularly blessed you or protected you, or some form of the divine that you pray to, just focus on that energy right now. And let all of this love and energy come in and to us before our work, so that we're all aligned with our positive intention for world peace. So I'm going to say the focus for world peace. And then I will hope everybody will say it once again with me. And then we'll just start saying the Om for a short while. And it's good to, we don't all have to start and stop at the same time. Just make it be a harmonious, continual sending out of the OM. The OM, in my belief system, is a creative force of the universe. So it's very powerful and a very good way to create what we want to see in terms of world peace. Okay, so let's just take just a few seconds to call on, I might call on Archangel Michael, who's a wonderful protector, to shield this work so that it will just go forth undisturbed, and the Divine Mother to guide this work. This is also a wonderful season to call on our beloved friend, Lord Jesus Christ, who, of course, was the Prince of Peace, is the Prince of Peace. For world peace. For world peace.
deep breath.
Beloved masters and angels, thank you for this work. Thank you for bringing peace to the world. Let's reach under this work, all these prayers and this desire for world peace up to the heart of God. Amen.
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 Wow. Thank you all so much for being here. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. You know, I think I'll continue this beautiful feeling with a song by the late, great George Harrison, who released an album called Living in the Material World. And he actually wrote a song that was directly about Baba Ram Dass and about his #1 best-selling book, Be Here Now. And the song I'm going to play is called Be Here Now. And I think you'll notice it has a lot of the same energy you might be feeling right this moment. So it might be a perfect time to cue to George. You're listening to the KSKQ EARTHEART Radio Show. And thanks so much for being here. And thanks so much to my guest who showed up today to chant Om for world peace. And much love to all of you. Oh, it seems CD player 2 is not working, guys. I'm going to have to switch CDs very quickly here. That's what happens with live radio sometimes. You find out at the second you're on the air that something's not working, but what do? You roll with it. So we'll go to CD number 2 and we'll be okay. Thanks again, Connie. I really appreciate that.
It was my privilege.
Yeah, thanks for being here, you guys. It is George Harrison at KSKQ. Whoa, that was strange. My friends, I don't know what just happened. I guess it's the ghost of Ram Dass. I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and start this one over again and play the correct track before we get into the Ram Dass memorial portion of this said show. And here we go, my friends.
Saints, angels, avatars, sages, yogis, holy men, medicine men, helpers, elders, revolutionaries, and advocates of love. Today we honor and show love, respect, and gratitude.
All right, my friends. Today we are focusing on yet another human being temporarily residing in a human body. And tonight, one of my very favorite humans of all, Brother Ram Dass, is the person we are speaking about today, I should say. Born April the 6th, 1931 as Richard Alpert, Baba Ram Dass was an American spiritual teacher, academic, and clinical psychologist and author. His most famous book is the 1971 classic, Be Here Now. He was personally and professionally associated with Dr. Timothy Leary at Harvard University in the early 60s, traveled to India and met Hindu guru Neem Karoli Baba, and founded many, many charitable organizations such as the Seva Foundation, the Hanuman Foundation, and the Prism Ashram Project. Ram Dass continued to teach via his website, produced a podcast, and pursued mobile app development through the Be Here Now network and the Love, Serve, Remember Foundation. In 1967, when Richard Alpert went to India and met American spiritual seeker Bhagavan Das, he was introduced to Neem Karoli Baba, a.k.a. Maharaji. Maharaji gave Ram Dass the name Ram Dass, which means servant of God, referring to the incarnation of God as Ram or Lord Rama. Ram Dass returned to America in 1971, essentially skipping the entire 60s in America. Imagine that. He did return, and he found out that Be Here Now had become a best-selling book, which, of course, is still in print and has brought millions of people to God, by the way. In 1997, Ram Dass had a stroke that he interpreted as an act of grace. He once stated that his wheelchair was actually an extension of his divine body, That is profound. He lived on Maui, and we were very, very lucky, and we are grateful that we've got to spend a little time with Baba. We are extremely grateful for those experiences. Ram Dass did continue to make public appearances and to give small talks at small venues. He held retreats in Maui and continued to teach through his webcasts. When asked if he could sum up his life's message, he replied, "I help people as a way to work on myself, and I work on myself to help people. To me, that's what the energy or the emerging game is all about." Baba Ram Dass departed this material world December 22nd. He was 88, and he went peacefully surrounded by loved ones. Sister Tracy, you were fortunate enough to hang out with Ram Dass as well. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me, and that was awesome, having Connie and everyone here and doing this on such a special day. Today is the day that they're having the memorial in Maui for Ram Dass, so it was appropriate that we did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. You know, we were in Maui, and Maui's a small island. If you've ever been there, you know that it's not that big, and it only takes just, you know, a few hours to drive around the entire island. And we had just kind of heard, you know, from others that Ram Dass, you know, went for his daily swim. And we were lucky enough to run into him on more than one occasion. I happen to be terrified of the ocean. I feel like I look like bait when I'm in the ocean. So I'm a great swimmer, but I'm not too keen on going out into the ocean. So the first time that we had the opportunity to go out, and Ram Dass would sit, of course, because he did have a stroke back in '98, but was still very much, you know, very much aware, very cognitive, just had trouble with mobility, and would go out in a floaty wheelchair with a lot of his caretakers and, you know, friends and special people in his lives. His life would go out and float and swim with him and sing and chant and just have a good time. And the first time, I have to admit, I chickened out. I was too scared to go out with them, and I regretted it so much.
For a year.
That it crossed my mind every day, probably 3 times a day for at least a year.
However, the redemption came finally.
It did come, and we went back, and same thing, pretty much same scenario happened. And this time, I spoke to a couple people, you know, that went out, and I had said something to Ram Dass because I had had a dream about him the night before. And I had said something to Ram Dass about being afraid, and he leaned me forward and he said, "Never be afraid." And so I got in the water and swam way out into the ocean and never thought twice about it, and floated with Ram Dass, and we all chanted, "Joy, oh joy, oh joy, oh joy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy," meaning, you know, oh boy.
Buoyancy. That was beautiful.
Because if Ram Dass was nothing else, he was a prankster on top of being a highly intelligent individual. His work with Timothy Leary is world renowned. You know, he was a Harvard graduate. Mm-hmm. You know, he was just super hyper intelligent, and but on top of that, he had a sense of humor.
He did
about everything, and so, you know, it was just, he put you at ease. He had a way of putting you at ease, even if you had never met him before.
Well said.
So that was, yeah, and I've got to say, you know, and I'm approaching, or I'm at middle age. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, so don't ask. You know, it's still, to this day, is probably the single most powerful moment of my life. It was really intense. Other than maybe giving birth to my daughter, wow. It was probably the single most intense experience of my life, because it was just really real, and you don't meet people like Ram Dass.
No, not daily, not every day.
And not in every life, I don't think. And I know a lot of people have different opinions about that. But yeah, so it was great, and I feel very honored to have met him, and I know that he was ready to go. He had said that on many occasions. He did a lot of work with the dying.
And he noticed they left his body lay in state for 3 days, which is a tradition that even Bhagavan Das expressed to us last year. He said, hey, if I die and you guys are around, don't touch my body for 3 days. And he was real serious. And then I noticed that that's what they did for Ram Dass.
Well, we have a lot of kind of strange rituals in this country
West.
surrounding death. Yeah.
Supposedly your soul is still connected to your physical body for about 3 material days, and you're really not supposed to bother the body.
And like I said, everyone has different, and if you think about this, though, I mean, Jesus of Nazareth, according to the scriptures, was crucified and arose on the 3rd day. He laid inside the tomb for 3 days before he arose.
So there's something to this, yeah.
There are, in my book, all religions kind of mean the same thing at their core. And if we all kind of understood that, maybe we would get along a little bit better. But so yeah, he did. He did lie in state for 3 days. I don't know in America how that works. I don't know. I know Oregon is a pretty liberal state when it comes to things like that. But Ram Dass, bless his soul, and now we know that we have him watching over us as well. So that's comforting.
Well, let's hear some of his words. I found a talk by Ram Dass called "The Dark Night of the Soul," and I have a shorter one to play after this. But enjoy here at the EARTHEART Radio Show and KSKQ Radio.
Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, we give thanks to the beloved sages and blessed saints. You're listening to EARTHEART Radio on KSKQ.
Telling you how it is. This is just the way things are. And so you kind of get a little discouraged and your faith flickers. Because you had the experience, you thought you knew, you took a stance to represent how you thought it was, and then suddenly it's all dead. And horrible, and ugly, and empty. And your faith flickers and you say, I've lost it. And at times when the faith flickers and you're part of an organization or a belief system or a technique, that's when you become more fanatic in order to reinforce your flickering faith. You try to convince everybody else that it's true. So when you feel that fanaticism in another human being, you almost know immediately that their faith is flickering. Because when the faith in what you're doing is perfect, when you just are what you are, you don't have to convince anybody of anything. Faith flickers, and it's often followed by what's called the dark night of the soul. I lost it. You have depression. And then you say, well, I'll just go back into the world because the whole thing was phony anyway. The whole spiritual trip was a hype. And all those people in the world that said there was nothing to it were right, because I've lost it, and I'm not going to get screwed by not having anything. At least I'll have the world. So you go back into whatever part of the world you can grab onto again. And that's called, as Krishna Das once said to me, the phony unholy as opposed to the phony holy. Because the problem is that once it's happened, you can't forget it. You might try, you might sit at a bar and drink and lust and talk about soccer and fast cars and look for rushes and trips and more rushes and trips. But you won't be able to forget, because once you've awakened, you can't get back to sleep fully. You can do pretty well. But you can't do it totally. You just can't do it totally. And at this time, because you have this heightened awareness and this ability to stand back a little bit from your whole trip, you begin to explore all of the things that you've held in before, and you explore relationships, and you explore sexuality, and you call it tantra, and you sort of see what you can get and what you can enjoy, and you come back much more into enjoying. You see, the problem was that a pendulum must swing, and when you first have the experience that awakens, then you read about the spiritual models, and you hear about them, and you buy them with your mind, because the Western intellect is so leading the heart that you tend to buy how you ought to be ahead of when you're there. So you buy that I ought to be, say, a renunciate. And a horny celibate is no closer to God than a person that is acknowledging. In fact, the person that's acknowledging their lust is, from my point of view, closer to God than a horny celibate. And so after the pendulum went to one side of appearing to be something, the phony holy, now it swings the other way, and there's the phony unholy. Because you pushed away your fascination with the world prematurely, and you're still fascinated. You still want to know what's happening. You're still looking outside in the world for something. You're looking for love, you're looking for relationship, you're looking for stimulation, you're looking for knowledge, you're looking for a titillation. And as long as you're looking for any of that, you're pulled into the world. As long as there's anything that your eyes can tell you, or your ears can tell you, or your nose, or your tongue, or your skin can tell you, or your thinking mind can know, you're still being pulled into the world. And there's no way you can make believe that you are not and get on with it. You've got to be the incarnation you are. And the more true you are about where you are, the faster the transformation happens. That's the karma of it. I'm just describing karma. I'm not talking about will. I'm talking about karma. You know, I know lots of people who went through an awakening, joined groups, chanted, prayed, went to ashrams, and now they are scuba diving and having cars, fast cars, and just living very much in the world and looking for more and more sexual exploration with their extended marriages and so on. And I see them having to have a certain state of mind of a slight cynicism they have to hold on to be able to play that one out. But they have to play it out, and when they finish playing it out, they will be done. And you can feel that they've finished, but they don't want to give up. You try to milk it for one more rush, one more trip. Just I can get a little more out of it. I mean, it was good all those years. Why not once more? And when the trips start to fall away, if you're like me, you get really feeling angry and depressed and gypped. Because you look around and everybody, you see that ignorance is bliss. You see that everybody's getting fun out of bowling, and you don't want to bowl anymore. And you don't have anything else. It's the dark night of the soul, when you have lost the world and you're not yet tasting deeply enough of the spirit. And it's a heavy period. There are a lot of heavy periods in this journey. And comes along with all this a kind of a deeper and a deeper understanding, a wisdom, a deeper wisdom. So you're understanding sort of how it all is and why this is all happening, and that yes, the trips will fall away, and it still hurts, because there are still the veils of attachment, of still wanting not to die into the spirit. Because the awakening was merely the foreshadowing of the death into living spirit. It's not the death. It's just the foreshadowing of the death. I'm just describing to you the stages of dying into spirit. Because only when you are spirit is there no death and no birth. And then you are. And you become who you truly are. And it's at this point, as you understand more and you see your predicament and you're acting out all your stuff, that your understanding of the way karma works makes it almost impossible for you to continue to act in ways which exploit others or which create karma for other human beings. And it starts to temper your behavior. The commandments start to be real for you, not as things you ought to follow, which is the way you've done it all your life. I ought to be good. As if you need to have these external controls to repress the internal stuff that is not acceptable to you. And finally, all of the precepts or the commandments or whatever they are become sort of obvious to you about that's the way life has to be, because that's the way it works. It's merely a statement of how it works. Because the more karma you create, the deeper you dig your hole of suffering. It's as simple as that. As simple as that.
You are at the EARTHEART Radio Show in KSKQ Radio. That does wrap up our first talk from Ram Dass that is called Dark Night of the Soul. I'm Shankara Das, a.k.a. Derek Moody, sitting here with the one and only Sister Tracy. And thanks for being here. Are you having a good time, Sister Tracy?
I am. Yeah, I was just sitting here reminiscing a little bit with
Nicole
about her experience with Ram Dass, and so
nice.
it's just nice to exchange stories with people who've ran into him over the years.
The Rogue Valley Messenger is a proud partner of KSKQ. The Messenger strives to publish fun, smart, and engaging articles from music and food reviews to investigative stories that ask tough questions and consider the successes and failures of local government agencies. Providing as much news, entertainment, and information that they can pack into each issue, the Messenger does host a comprehensive listing of the region's events and cultural happenings. Interested in the Rogue Valley's nonprofit events and news publication? You can email info@roguevalley.messenger.com or head over to www.roguevalley.messenger.com for more info. I have a song I would like to play from the very first Bhagavan Das album, or actually it might be his second album, called Swaha. And the song is called Let My Heart Fly Open. It does feature Ram Dass on vocals, but for some reason I'm not sure if it's the right song, so I'm going to give it a try, Sister Tracy. And you're at the EARTHEART Radio Show in KSKQ. Well, I keep forgetting that CD Player 2 no longer works in our studio, which I'm not sure why that happens, but maybe it'll be fixed.
It happens.
Maybe it'll be fixed by the time the Church of Rock Tonight happens, because it's definitely not working now, and I don't know why. Each week we come here, it seems like there's always a new surprise. But let's try this track and see if it's the right one. If not, I've got a backup plan. Let My Heart Fly Open. You are at the Earth Heart Radio Show with Bhagavan Das and Ram Das from the Swaha album, Let My Heart Fly Open. What a beautiful tune. I am Moody, a.k.a. Shankara Das, and I've got something really special, Sister Tracy. This is another talk from Baba Ram Das that I had found, and I would really like to share it.
Yes, I believe this is the... It's a little shorter than the one.
This is only about 4 minutes.
Yeah, and this is actually a fairly common, I believe. I think a lot of people have heard this one.
It's titled Dissolving the Fear and Finding Your Own Beauty. And I would like to send this out to a regular Earth Heart listener and somebody that I admire in our community. I'd like to send this talk out for Brother Dan Wapapa. With love, from the Earth Heart Radio Show and KSKQ. Thanks for listening, Dan.
It takes us a long time, many of us longer than others, to come up out of the darkness of our feelings of unworthiness, of unlovableness, of allowing that liquidity to happen, of feeling safe to be in the presence of love. When I first experienced my guru loving me, my mind kept flickering with the thoughts of, if he only knew. And then I realized that he did know. And he was still loving me. And it took me through and whatever you are, however you are at this moment, when you can accept that you are lovable, then the fear starts to dissolve. It's allowing your own beauty. It's allowing the beauty of your soul, which is behind your personality. It's behind all of this. Just another radiant bit of light into the soul. And I think at this moment, there's nothing violent to do. Just observe the kind of sadness, the feeling of loneliness, the feeling of separateness, the feeling of pain. You just watch it and allow it. Don't get too fierce about it. Don't feel too deprived about it. Don't milk the self-pity of it. Just notice that it's just passing through. It's just another place your mind is grabbing. It's all mind. You realize that. The only thing you're stuck in is not even history. It's just mind. It's a model you have of who you think you are and who you think everybody else is. That's all it is. That's exactly what's causing your suffering at this moment is your own thought frames. And you're clinging to them and saying, this is real. It's like somebody who sees a rope and they think it's a snake and they get frightened of it. And they think it's just a rope. And then suddenly they're not frightened. And it's as simple as that. It really is the mind. And that's finally why you're driven to work on your mind. To quiet your mind, because you see the way your personality is really just a series of thoughts that you keep investing. Like the first moment you felt the sadness or the loneliness or the emptiness or the pain, that started a whole track of, oh, this is like I've always felt in the past, and you started to build the whole storyline all over again. And at that moment, it's just, sadness. I would say that most people in this room, if you scratch the surface, you will find some residual unworthiness. From just having grown up on Earth. I mean, it's interesting because you don't understand that the personality itself is rooted in fear and vulnerability. That's where the root is. Because you go from being, imagine being the baby that is everything in the universe to starting to be this little vulnerable tiny thing. And the first time you realize there are big forces and you're not them. How incredibly inadequate one must feel. You could give words to it. And every one of us has been through that moment. And for most of us, it's buried so deeply, we can never get over it.
You are at the EARTHEART Radio Show, where I just heard a rumor that we might have problems with our audio right now, and I hope that's not the case, because that's not good news at all. That was a talk from Baba Ram Dass, Dissolving the Fear and Finding Your Own Beauty, here at KSKQ. And Sister Tracy, you wanted to say something?
Oh, no, I was just looking at, I love reading quotes by famous people. Einstein quotes, whoever, Tesla quotes, just quotes by people that I can learn something from. And I know a lot of people have a bad not a bad idea, but just an idea about what religion is. And, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to, it doesn't matter how you worship as long as you're not hurting other people. But, one of Ram Dass's quotes is, each of us finds his unique vehicle for sharing with others his bit of wisdom. And that's just what we're trying to do here today.
That's right.
Is just kind of spread peace and in the world. I mean, we know we need it. This is the time we need it.
And even if you don't share, some of our beliefs, we are definitely not trying to push those beliefs, and we accept your beliefs, and we just think the bottom line is that religion is love and kindness.
And speaking of, the views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the speaker, guest, or host, and do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of KSKQ, the Multicultural Association of Southern Oregon, or the underwriters of KSKQ.
Please let go of your fear. Positive news is here. Things aren't as bad as it seems, no matter what they say. News with an agenda is meant to instill fear. True news can instill hope.
And my friends, thank you once again for listening. Tonight, the positive news, I've decided to share with you a list of some of the nonprofit and selfless service groups that were founded and or co-founded by Baba Ram Dass. Since 1978, the Seva Foundation has restored eyesight in over 5 million people in 20 countries across the world. That's a lot of good work. The Prison Ashram Project was started in 1973 to encourage convicts to use meditation and other spiritual teachings, turning their prison time into an ashram-like experience. An ashram is a Sanskrit word meaning the house of God. The Hanuman Foundation is a nonprofit educational service organization focused on the spiritual well-being of society through education, media, and community service programs. Another group founded by Ram Dass is the Living Dying Project. Started in 1986, it was the first residential facility in the U.S. where people came to die consciously. The Love, Serve, Remember Foundation was organized to preserve and continue the teachings of Neem Karoli Baba and Ram Dass. Ram Dass also served on the faculty of the Metta Institute, where he was provided training on mindful and compassionate care of the dying. Over the course of his life, since the inception of his Hanuman Foundation, Ram Dass gave all of his book royalties and profits from teachings and to his foundation. He gave every cent to the other charitable causes as well. In other positive news, a church and mosque joined forces to feed poor families and offered free screenings for Christmas. Yep, in the spirit of Ram Dass and a heartwarming example of interfaith compassion, a New York church and a mosque joined forces to feed low-income families and offer free health screenings for the holidays. On Christmas Day, the Westbury United Methodist Church partnered with the Islamic Center of Long Island in order to provide a warm meal and an even warmer welcome to financially struggling families. And although the church and mosque have been helping to facilitate these Yuletide feasts for the last 5 years, this is the first event during which they have offered community health consultations as well. One volunteer told reporters, quote, "I want to create a bond between all faiths. I think when it comes down to it, we're just all human." Amen. Amen to that.
Yes, sir. And it's funny that I was looking through positive news stories myself, and the same one caught my eye. That's just crazy because we were both looking at the same thing at the same time without knowing it. But it's cool because they basically said that they were coming together to celebrate what different faiths have in common. And that's what we all need to focus on. What do we have in common? What do we all want? We all want basically the same thing. We want food. We want shelter. We want love. We want safety. We want to live in peace. Those are the kinds of things that everyone wants. And I like to think that at their core, that is what all religions originally meant. So it's a great story. And I'm sure that happened in more places than just Long Island. But Long Island, wow, what a heck of a place for it to happen, right?
Right.
It's pretty cool. That was a good story. A good holiday story as well.
Well, thank you so much. It's tricky doing the show because, there's folks that I communicate with, and sometimes I just have to keep communication going because I don't want anyone to ever hear this show and think that we're trying to push any particular spirituality or religion. We're not. The bottom line is, if that happens, I'm sorry. We are just trying to push love and kindness as being our religion. That's about it. So we do try to share different faiths, different beliefs, and different groups. And I also offer anyone that's a listener to this show to feel free to call me or contact me. And if you would like to come on the show to share some of your beliefs that maybe we've never touched on, boy, I'd be glad to be enlightened.
Absolutely, and that's what we're doing. I mean, I'd like to think that we continue to learn until the last moment that we exist here.
Right.
Whatever it is, our consciousness, our brain, our mind, whatever it is, I like to think that up until the very end, we have the ability to learn new information and to change our beliefs if they need to be changed.
Well said. Let's finish the hour with one more song, Sister Tracy, by the great Mavis Staples.
Great.
From her latest album, We Get By. It's a song dedicated to Ram Dass. It's called Change. Right here at the Earth Heart Radio Show in KSKQ. You are at the Earth Heart Radio Show with the great Mavis Staples with We Get By. And thank you so much for being here. And thanks to all of my friends that showed up today for the live Om chant. And anyone that might have been offended by in any way today whatsoever, we definitely did not mean that. We never mean to offend. And please always communicate with us because that's what it's all about. And if we talk to each other, we can, fix all the things that we might think are wrong. But we do have to go.
And I'm just going to say what I say at the end of every Church of Rock. Be good and be good to each other.
Sister Tracy, thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much.
You've been listening to Earth Heart Radio with your host, Shankara Das. Earth Heart Radio is produced by Shankara Das in association with Sister Tracy and Krishna Consciousness. Please tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for more Earth Heart Radio.